Okay, so yesterday I finished the other side, and what I did this morning was just take off everything that was easy to get off and laid it out again. The hardest part has been getting this spring removed. So I did what I did yesterday, which is turn this thing up with a screwdriver and just kept turning this thing until it's getting much easier to turn, and it's closing a lot. The idea being that if there's very little, I think there is no pressure on it now because it wiggles very well, and this thing I think is just on its own spring tension now, but it's not, it shouldn't be as much as usual. I've removed the little pin and the cup and the spring from this side, so this side's loose. Everything else is pulled apart, but I left this one on because yesterday what I did, the only reason how I got this off was I actually clamped this to the wheel, and that was the only way I got it to work. I was able to then push against, using the pliers, grab that spring and pull it out of the hole because the little shoe then wasn't moving. So maybe I was overzealous and removed both of these, and I should lift this one in. So that's my attempt now. That's my adjustment. I'm leaving that in because this now, it seems to be solid, and if I can pull against it, maybe I can grab this and move it over. This is basically almost as close as it can be. So let's see if I can do this. The key, I guess, is to get it grabbed. I think I'm really close. Problem is these grips do not seem to actually function. They're all bent. They wiggle too much like that, back and forth. Because I can't seem to get a good purchase on this thing. Let's tighten it. Okay, so they're on there real tight. Now, there she is. Look at that. Worked perfectly well. Ah, that is a key. Close this all the way. Keep this sucker on. Sweet. That worked great. That wasn't hard to do at all. Ah, now that bad boy, I think it'll just fall right out because there's nothing holding it on. Look at that. Oh, except for the brake. But this is the emergency brake. You pull that up and then you sort of fish this forward. Like that, and then that comes right out. Great. Excellent. And I'll clean that off like I did. So there's my parking brake. All right, so this, same thing. There's this notch, and you just push this in and turn it until that flat part is correlating with that open vertical, or that open side slot, and it comes right off. So in this case, I gotta go and get some of these good ones though. Put this on, do the same thing. You put it on until it's just tight like that. You gotta push on the pin from the back side. That pin goes all the way through, it's just loose. Now you push in and turn, and it comes right off like a madman. Oh. And now this guy, pin comes out, put it over here, so I know this is just, I think I know where all the parts go at this point, but I still am careful, and this just falls right out. There you go. Easy peasy, 1, 2, 3-zy. Now if I can just get it in as easily, we'll see. Okay, 55 subscribers. So I got the new spring on here. I laid all my new components there, all my new springs, all the latch, everything is good. I put this in, I oiled, or I put in the anti-seize on the threads, anti-seize on the end of this thing. This spring is in. These two new C-clamps are on there. This fits like that. When it goes in, it goes all the way, butts up against these pieces, and here there's a notch, and it sandwiches in there. You can see a little bit how it sandwiches. I put my notation on here so that when I start adjusting this, I know that turning it this way is going to loosen it, which means it's going to get compress in like this, and then going the other way is going to make them go out. That ultimately has to be horizontal like this, but you can screw it around later when you get there. I forget where this goes if it goes behind or underneath or whatever, but we'll worry about that when we get there. It might actually go on top. Can't quite remember. So I'll pull that back and hold it as best you can. Slide it in and let it go. And it's in. So that one's, technically connected. I also put anti-seize on the 6 points of lubrication there, and there after cleaning them off a little bit. I know this thing fits in behind there, all that jazz underneath there like that. That piece hooks up into that little hole there. This goes under here, so that's the general rule of thumb. I just don't remember now. It must be that pin right there. Yeah, it must be it. So we'll see if we can do this without losing our religion. Let that go for a second. Yeah, hold. So the key here is this thing's horizontal, the crimped, the smushed part. And you put that so it's horizontal. Grab this thing so that it's grabbed. So I'll loosen this until I can just crimp it without breaking it, without crushing it. That's tight. Stick this in here. Slide this over. Push on the pin in the back. Push this thing in horizontal. And turn it. And you're in. Works like a charm. Works really, really well once you've done it a couple of times. At first, it's a real pain in the rear. There's the notch that this fits into. So everything still moves around pretty good. That fits in there, in that little hole. This will ultimately fit on there. This piece goes underneath here like that. But I want this to be, I want that spring to be out. I don't want that spring to be caught in there. I just want to make sure it's away from all of this, because it's not supposed to be in the way. So really, I think this probably needs to be not loosened, but expanded a bit. Expanded a smidgen, because it'd be nice if it was just kind of butting up against there. And now because I've lubricated this is actually working pretty well. I just want to get it kind of in there so that it kind of holds. It sort of stays where it's supposed to. I know that one's good. Alright, so that's not bad. So now we'll do the same little dealie again and see if I can make it work. Will this stay? Probably not, because this is not held on to anything. Alright. Put this guy, find the hole, tight again, or too tight, so now it'll stay. Maybe. Hold the pin, hold this in place. I'm going to get that up there so it looks like it's sort of supposed to be there. That makes me feel better anyway. Turn this so that it's either horizontal or vertical. We'll go vertical. That means we will put up like so. Push, turn. Yeah, there's a tool especially for these things, but God, these vice grips work much. I don't know. I can see what I'm doing. I just need a new pair of these. So with all my major sponsors and monetization, I'd like the new pair of these that actually work. I'd like speaking of things that work, my Kilmer light is just awesome. I'm calling it a Kilmer light from now on because it's great. All right, so that's in. The basics are done because now what we do is fit these little springs in. I have to remember where everything goes. This little dude goes on at the end, and it fits over this pin. A little hole right there, and then in that slot, and then that's what this little thing there, and it fits, and then that piece fits right in there. There's a little cutout that you can barely see in there. Okay, so but that goes on last. The question is, do I try to put that bad boy on there now? Gotta get out of it, fish it out around there first. There we go. So he goes in there. So do I go ahead and put it on there? Try for it? Like a boss. Oh, saw that. That's still in there. Diggity damn. Everything is working. That's in there. Okay, so that means I could put this little guy in. Maybe I should put this little pink one. Goes in the very bottom. Goes between these two. And it's hard to get in there actually. I'm so close if I can just sort of. There she goes. Or does it go like this? Yeah, it goes like this. It's above those little guys. There we go. There we go. Like that. Fits like that. Now this guy goes around. Like so. That. And like that. Good. Excellent. That's what I thought. Last piece. Oops. Well, my new GoPro my daughter gave me said it was full. So I don't think he got this last little piece. So this is my old chintzy camera, but it seems to work. I have to go through, make sure everything's okay, but that was that last spring I put in. Everything looks good. Everything looks like it's in there. Everything is in the right place. My brakes on there, my parking brake. This is just for starters, a good place, but it'll probably adjust as I go. Now the part I hate is putting this stupid drum back on. I have a hard time with that because you're supposed to then spin it magically and see that it's just touching, blah blah blah, and you adjust by hitting these little things, and it's a royal pain. I'm not a fan. But I'll try to do that relatively quickly, and then all you do is put the wheel back on, lower the car, torque it, and test it. So very successful, much easier than the other side, and it helped to just think through it and have the experience, and everything worked much better than the Ford. This stuff is more complicated than this crazy Japanese car, but everything fits much better. It's everything. I don't know. there wasn't as much grunting and force involved. Anyway, that's that. Successful, I believe. We'll let you know. Well, success. I got that on there. It turns, but there's a little bit of friction. They will self-adjust anyway. Worked great. Only took me about 10 minutes to figure it out this time, whereas yesterday it took me about 40 minutes. It's a real pain. Those little clicks are literally, a couple of clicks will do you. So that's good. I cleaned up a little. Can put the wheels on. Have my lovely wife help me check the brakes. Make sure they stop. And like I said, this Kilmer light, fantastic, works great. Especially with my addition of expensive duct tape to hold the thing in the car. Oh, good day. I'm glad I did this. I still have a problem with the parking brake. I thought when I took the things apart I'd see something wrong at the actual piece, but this is the parking brake piece that goes back. They're connected in the wheels, so that's not a problem, so it must be something else. I'll go check up in the front under the dash. Maybe it's simple, something slipped, because the parking brake still does not work. But these so nice to have real actual shoe in your tire, in your brake, so it'll work. Thanks for watching, and I hope this helps somebody. See you later.